All right. So before we continue, I do want to apologize. I actually gave some incorrect information earlier, and I don't like having misinformation in my videos. I double-checked on IMDb. Turns out Mr. Paul Darrow actually passed away in 2019. I got that date wrong, so I do apologize for that. Let's see. I think, considering that now we're in a new hour and Ryan is probably available after that interesting meeting involving the dolls, let's work our way up the street towards Atlas and kind of save Ryan for last. In the meantime, let's go ahead and start down over here. Kind of work our way up, starting with James and then continuing onwards, just to do our run through of asking everybody as many things as we can.
Questions, if you don't mind. Seen this anywhere before? Nope.
You gotta love James.
Thank you. Probably be back later.
Just his very quick little one-word answers there. Alright, let's see. Rebecca. I guess we're mainly asking everybody is, hey, have you seen this bag before? And have you seen, you know, the shop, or know about the shop? Is basically all we're doing right now.
A few more questions, if you don't mind.
Have you seen this before, anywhere?
Well, I know the shop, costume shop just outside the village.
Ever used it?
Not personally, but I think Ryan might have.
Did you know about Paul's money stealing at Atlas?
Are you talking about a particular incident or just in general?
It's something he did on the course. Stunt.
And what did he do exactly?
Oh, well, he pretended to steal from the students.
That doesn't ring a bell. Paul's stunts usually involve throwing fancy dress parties with scantily clad girls or women dressed as nurses. That's his usual fetish.
When was the last party he threw?
Sometime in the summer. I didn't stay long.
That's all for the moment. Thank you.
Well, everyone has their own thing. That's not necessarily something that I think we would have picked up on before about Paul, but,
Couple more questions, if that's okay.
whatever does it for you, I guess.
Do you think Emma's criticism of Liam on that last night led to his suicide?
I doubt it helped.
Did you encourage Emma to criticize him?
I didn't encourage Emma to do anything. I merely told her what we tell every student to do, to express themselves as they want to. It would be out of order to criticize them after that, wouldn't it? However, I didn't expect her to criticize his birthmark, if that's what it was. That's a decision she took herself.
So you didn't know her well?
No. Not at all.
So here's the thing. We actually know he's lying about that. Because, as Emma told us before about the necklace, it was from an admirer.
Aha. You say you didn't know Emma, yet you bought her a freedom necklace.
I don't remember saying anything about buying Emma a necklace.
So you didn't buy her one? So you did buy her one. So that means you must have known her, and quite well too.
Stop making such a big thing about this, Inspector. Look, I've been around a few years. The clock is ticking. And I admit I have an embarrassing weakness for attractive women. It was a stupid mistake, but that's all it was.
So you're saying you tried it on with her?
No, I didn't try it on. I bought her a necklace. I'm not aware that there's a law against buying presents unless, of course, the Third Reich has been elected while I was at a bridge party. Emma was old enough to make decisions for herself. And as a matter of fact, she decided that she didn't want to be bothered with an old fool like me. So nothing happened, no mistakes, nobody got hurt. All right.
I mean, considering that she was already having an affair.
Surprises there. I wonder how many students Paul has tried it on with.
Like Jenks just said, sorry if I talked over him there. I forgot that he talks after we do a contradiction. But I was going to say, like, she was already banging his son. Not sure. She did say it was an unwanted admirer, so she clearly did not return those feelings towards Mr. Paul Rand here. Alright, now let's go talk to Simon.
A few more questions, please. Thank you.
Now this is funny. Jakes has promised not to discuss this with Simon. So even if you wanted to ask her about it, you can't do it. The game will not allow you because Jinx wouldn't do that.
You seen this? You know the shop?
Yeah, I know the shop. I hired something from them last year, I think.
This is for a party, I assume.
Yeah, something like that.
Little shifty eyes there, Simon.
What do you know about Paul stealing money from students? Part of a stunt or something?
What, did he do that? I've never heard about anything like that. No, it might be part of the risk-taking thing, though.
Explain that.
Well, it's part of the course. You have to do something dangerous or risky, something you wouldn't normally do.
Something dangerous?
Well, not dangerous, just risky. Like saying something you wouldn't normally say to someone, or doing something unusual.
Like stealing from other students?
Well, we didn't do anything like that, but you have to tell everyone at the end of the course anyway. And you're not allowed to do anything that would hurt or offend anyone, or you're not allowed to do anything really bad. It's all pretend, really.
It seems a bit odd for a business course.
It works, though.
I like how that's his defense. Well, it works, so that makes everything fine.
Okay.
You get the sense that there are a lot of things we have not talked about Ryan. Alright, so now let's go on and talk to Ryan, but let's go ahead and just quickly make our little stroll through the woods here on the way to Atlas, just in case. But you get the sense that Simon is a little too into it. A little too much into buying into everything. That he'd be the one to kind of like drink the Kool-Aid, as it were. Unfortunately. Oh, hello. A flashlight.
That'll come in handy. Don't know why I never remember to buy one.
I like how he smiled when it turned on his face, like, yes! Now I can finally have some fun telling ghost stories. Well, now that we have this flashlight, before we go talk to Ryan, let's go back into that little closet where we found the mask. I remember there was a dark area in this outbuilding. Maybe now that we have this flashlight, we can actually check out what's back there.
Well. And there's the mask symbol again. Looks like someone's been trying to make a point.
Devil worshippers. Obviously, we can ask that to basically everyone. However, let's just go ahead and head on over to Ryan, and then we'll ask everyone else about that later. So, Ryan,
ask you a couple more things, please?
About what I saw earlier. Let's kind of go down the list. Let's talk about what we saw earlier here.
So tell me more about this doll burning.
It's a symbolic ceremony we perform every few weeks on the course.
What's it about?
It's about burning your old personality and finding a new one, a better one.
So the dolls are...
You. They represent you from the past. Each doll has a picture of the student as a child or a teenager. And they burn the doll and symbolically destroy their old personality. It's quite simple but effective, I find.
And why did that girl shout?
Because it's an emotional thing. She's quite clearly become very attached to her doll. They do spend the first month with them. We tell them to take the doll everywhere with them before they actually go through the doll burning.
And you believe that's a good thing? Destroying your past?
Of course it's a good thing, Inspector. We're all shackled to our past, particularly you by the sound of it. Perhaps we should make a doll of you, Inspector, and burn that. What do you think?
No, thank you.
You're probably right. I'm not sure it would do any good anyway.
And the little look here is like, little smug response there by Ryan. So about your guitars.
I didn't realize you were a musician.
Oh, well, I'm not really a musician. I mean, I dabble a little bit. To be quite honest with you, I'm far more interested in collecting guitars.
You're not in a band.
Well, I did audition. I did audition a few years ago. When I say a few years ago, of course, I mean about 20 years ago. Doesn't time fly?
What band was that?
Oh, I can't remember. Something Stone. Aren't they all called something Stone? Hammerstone. That's it.
And you still collect?
I haven't bought a guitar for over a year. I feel I've moved on.
Can you tell me about auto-hypnosis?
Well, what would you like to know?
Do you use it on the course?
We dip into it occasionally, but it's not a major feature of the course. I would say that, well, a minority of the students know how to use it, but the majority wouldn't know and have a clue.
It's not a requirement of the course.
No, not at all. We don't ask people to do things that they're not comfortable with. There's no bribery, no coercion. We're thinking about phasing auto-hypnosis out, actually.
What's the reason for that?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, Inspector, it doesn't actually work very well.
Not sure I bought what he was saying there about how, we don't ask them to do anything dangerous or that they're not comfortable with. We don't coerce them or bribe them. Let's kind of keep that in the back of our minds for later. I have a feeling that'll come up again.
Do you know what this is?
Well, I think it's a bag. Is it a bag, Inspector?
The shop.
Oh, yes, the costume shop. Yes, we used to hire from them.
For the course?
Well, yes. For the course, at the end of each stage, we have a little party and we ask students to dress up or try acting out being somebody new, their new selves, as it were.
Could you explain a bit more? New selves?
One of the main elements of the course is learning how to act, how to be whoever you need to be in any given situation. I think you'll agree, Inspector, that business is about being the right person in the right situation at the right time. What it does, it helps them to detach themselves, become somebody new, pretend, you know that kind of thing. It's surprising what a little bit of cross-dressing can do for you, Inspector. You should try it.
Not at this stage. What do you know about your father's money-stealing stunt?
Oh, well, yes, that was something that Dad decided to do as part of the shock aspect of the course.
But he went too far, you believe.
He usually does.
And do you think it did have anything to do with Liam's death?
No. Liam wasn't like that at all. I mean, that was just a simple, unfortunate coincidence. I mean, Liam had his own problems, but he didn't have any problems with the money shock stunt. No.
What do you know about Emma Bowman criticising Liam before his suicide?
I was there. I witnessed it. I know Emma blamed herself for his death.
Did she?
Well, she was upset and all of that, but I wouldn't blame her, Inspector. I really don't think she had anything to do with it at all.
You don't think?
Liam was a very confident person, very outgoing, very strong individual, or so it seemed. I mean, people are free to do what they like. Even something as irreversible as bumping themselves off. Sad though that is, of course.
I'm not commenting on that.
Do you know what these are?
Oh, yes, that's my old car. It was vandalised. I took those for the insurance company. Where did you find those?
At the pub. You know who did this?
Yes. A girl called Lisa Blint. She was on the course, very strange girl.
And why did she write the words devil worshippers all over your car?
Well, she was a very strange girl. She had a lot of psychological problems. I'm not entirely sure, Inspector. I mean, she took a dislike to the course for some particular reason. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And she asked for a refund. I declined. And she decided to spray her disapproval all over my car.
Odd thing to spray, isn't it, though? Devil worshippers?
Well, she was a very odd girl, Inspector. Maybe she thought it was a way of getting back at us. I have no idea.
Did Rebecca know about it?
Well, yes, she did, but I wasn't about to unleash Rebecca on her. She can be quite fierce sometimes, you know. And I mean, the girl wasn't vindictive. She had psychological problems. She lives in the village, actually. The run-down house at the end of the lane. Can't miss it.
Really? Right, thank you.
Funny how he keeps drinking that, and it doesn't seem to empty, or rather, I guess he keeps refilling it over and over. But you say she's down at the end of the lane, do you? Perhaps we can go pay her a visit.
Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
So yeah, now let's go ahead and head back down the opposite direction. And feel free to go ahead and ask everyone else about these photos.
A few more questions, if you don't mind.
On our way towards Lisa Blint's house.
Have you seen these before?
No. Don't know the car.
Thank you. Probably be back later. Do you know anything about these?
Nope. Sorry.
Thank you. Probably be back later. Ask about a few more things, please. Have you ever seen these?
It's Ryan's car. It got vandalised last year. His camera had been stolen, so I took pictures. God, whoever did it made a mess, didn't they?
But nobody was prosecuted for it.
Not that I remember. The insurance paid out, though.
That's all for the moment. Thank you.
Let's see what Paul has to say about this.
A couple more questions, if that's okay. Do you know what these are?
Yes, that's Ryan's car. Another toy he managed to ruin. It was vandalised sometime last year.
You know who did it?
I don't believe anybody was ever prosecuted for it.
Be back later on, if that's okay.
Notice that type of answer he gave us. He didn't say, like, no, I don't know who it was. He just simply said, oh, well, no one was prosecuted,
Questions,
so...
Know anything about these?
Nope. Second straight time, he's just simply said either no or nope. Spoilers, James is essentially done for the rest of this game.
Could that be where Lisa lives? Run-down house at the end of the lane. That's what Ryan said, wasn't it?
Is it Lisa?
Yes.
Inspector Jenks, I'm investigating an incident in the village. I wonder if I could ask you a few questions.
What sort of incident?
I'd rather come in and discuss it if that's all right with you. I promise I won't take long. Thank you. I'll just go in here, yes?
I have to go out in a minute.
Oh, look, I can come back later.
I might not be here. What did you want to ask?
I just wanted to ask you, did you know Kate Vine?
No.
Right. Well, I heard that you're familiar with Atlas, the life skills training company.
What do you want to know about Atlas?
Well, I heard you reacted badly to it.
Of course I reacted badly. So would anyone.
Now, why do you say that?
Because they're devil worshippers.
Devil worshippers.
They're making demons appear. They're tricking everybody. They're getting people to join up, then they're putting demons inside them. You can see them.
See who?
Demons.
Where could you see them?
In the mirrors.
At Atlas.
Any mirror. You can't get rid of them. They stay inside you.
So, how did you get rid of them?
I didn't.
You still see them?
I just don't look. I put all the lights on. I make sure it's all bright. I put them on when I need to look in the mirror. If I make sure everything is bright, I just see myself without seeing the other person.
Who is the other person?
She's like me, but older. It's like her eyes sink in. She's all wrinkled, with a wrinkled mouth, like she's dying. And then I realise I'm her. I'm not me anymore. I'm her. I'm sorry, I have to go now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What a very fragile and disturbed person, and utterly convinced that Atlas are worshipping the devil. How are Ryan and Paul going to get out of this one?
So yeah, that's the only time we see Lisa in this game. That actress had this one scene. Well, she probably made the most of it. Also, did you pay attention to how the music got during that scene? Remember when I said earlier how at times this game does like to play up the idea that it is going to actually get into the disturbing or the supernatural, but it never actually does. Because that whole scene, you're kind of waiting for something to happen in the mirror, something to indicate that, yeah, there actually is something, but then they never actually do. Of course, keep in mind, this game was a Kickstarter, had a very tiny budget, so I doubt they would have had the budget to actually make that work, but yeah. So now we can be able to, of course, he draws this symbol. We can now go ahead and go around and talk to everyone about this particular accusation here. Because, yeah. So here's what... Let's go see if James, as they say. He may not.
Ask you a couple more things, please.
Do you know anyone who is interested in or involved with devil worship?
Have you met Lisa?
Which Lisa are you talking about?
Mad Lisa, lives on her own, doesn't like mirrors.
Yeah, I've met her. You think she's mad?
If you can't look at yourself in the mirror without seeing ghosts, you've got problems, don't you think?
How do you know her?
She came to the farm for some eggs a couple of times. Got talking to her once, that's all.
And what did she tell you?
Nothing much. Except she thought the devil was after her.
What did you tell her?
Told her the devil needs a good reason to be after you. But she was just like most people, really, blind to herself, except she's more extreme. That's all madness is. Being blind to yourself.
Wise old James. That's all madness really is. Being blind to yourself. We're all mad in our own strange way, aren't we?
A few more questions, if you
Let's hear what Paul has to say about this.
Do you know anything about devil worship, Paul?
I beg your pardon?
Devil worship? Satanism?
Am I missing something here?
I heard Atlas had elements of Satanism on the course.
You are misinformed. We're a training company, we're not devil worshippers. What kind of a question is that?
So you've no interest in the occult?
No, Inspector, I have no interest in the occult any more than I have interest in pole vaulting, cheese making, or snake charming. Anything else you want to know that I'm not interested in?
That's fine, thanks. Thank you. Probably be back later.
Obviously, we have to save Ryan for last.
A few more questions, if you don't mind. Have you ever come across anyone interested in or involved with the occult?
As in black magic? No, why?
Atlas don't use occult techniques or anything like that?
Atlas? Not unless Ryan's got a secret he's not telling me about. Why, who's been talking?
Just a line of inquiry. Okay, thanks. That's all for the moment. Thank you.
Alright, let's go talk to our boy Simon. Whoops! Clicked on the wrong thing. After we talk to Emma first.
That's okay. Have you ever heard about there being devil worship at Atlas?
Devil worship? No. Definitely not. Who said that?
It's just something I heard. Okay, thanks. Be back later on, if that's okay. What do you know about devil worship?
Devil worship? Where?
At Atlas.
Devil worship at Atlas? No, there's none of that.
Uh-huh, sure.
Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
Of course, Simon would just immediately dismiss that. He's too much into the Kool-Aid.
A few more questions, please. Thank you.
Now, remember what Ryan said earlier when we asked him about, like, the mask and the symbols and the scrying mirror, where he was like, oh yes, I used to look into all that stuff. So let's see if he says anything, if he once again is like, oh, I have no interest in that, I wouldn't know anything about that. Sure, that's not what you said earlier.
Has devil worship ever been part of the course, Ryan?
Am I correct in assuming that you have spoken to Lisa Blint?
You would be. She's been telling me all about the Atlas obsession with Satanism, Ryan.
Then if you've met Lisa Blint, then you will have worked out for yourself that she has a very vivid imagination. She also has psychological problems, diagnosed psychological problems, as a matter of fact.
So where did she get the idea that you lot were, devil worshippers?
I really have no idea. The girl is insane. She's frightened of her own shadow, bless her. She actually thinks that demons are possessing her even now. You really can't trust a word she says.
So you are saying there has never been any devil worship at Atlas?
I don't even know what devil worship is, Inspector. It's not something I particularly know anything about. I certainly don't recall anyone ever having worshipped the devil at Atlas. We even tried to help the poor girl by paying for some treatment, but she didn't want it.
Really?
It's not easy to offer someone help when they think that you're the problem.
Got him. Doesn't know anything about devil worship. Used to read about black magic and satanic rituals.
Aha. So, you used to read a lot about voodoo and satanic rituals, but you don't know anything about devil worship?
Well, obviously, I just meant we don't worship the devil. We're not devil worshippers here at Atlas, Inspector. Ridiculous.
But the point is, Ryan, that you claim not to know anything about it, but admitted you were obsessed with it when you were younger. Are you sure none of that made its way onto the Atlas course? And that Lisa isn't basing her beliefs on anything within that course?
Lisa isn't basing her beliefs on anything other than her own imagination, Inspector. Look, we do use some techniques that some students find difficult, disturbing. We encourage them to see things differently, that's all. And some people simply aren't up to that. Some people, like Lisa, that's why we introduced the aptitude test.
What's the aptitude test?
This. We ask students to fill in an aptitude test, medical history, psychological issues, that kind of thing, any medication that they have used in the past, any medication that they currently are using. Here, take a look. Basically, it's just to try and make sure that we don't get another Lisa.
Has it worked?
Well, touch wood, so far, yes.
Can I keep a copy of this? I wonder how much importance they actually give to this test. And what are they doing that's so disturbing anyway? Thank you. Probably be back later.
So it looks like now we have to go ask everyone else about this test. Let's go ahead and bring this up with our boy Simon.
Ask you a couple more things, please. Did you do a test before you started at Atlas?
Oh, yeah. It was all just questions about if I had any illnesses or mental health problems or stuff like that, you know. But they didn't actually ask for any proof, so I could have lied through your teeth on that one. Don't think they actually checked.
Interesting. Thank you. Probably be back later. Have you seen one of these before?
No, not this one exactly, but we had to fill something similar in on the first night at Atlas. One of those aptitude tests, fitness and stuff like that.
That's all for the moment. Thank you. Just a few more questions, if you don't mind. Do you know anything about this?
It's the aptitude test, isn't it, for Atlas? What do you want to know?
Do you know why it was introduced?
I think they had some trouble with some unsuitable students. I suppose you have to be careful who you work with.
Be back later on, if that's okay. Ask about a few more things, please. Can you tell me a bit about this, please? It's the Atlas aptitude test.
What do you want to know?
What does it test, exactly?
It's a test we introduced to make sure that any students didn't have any major personality problems, skeletons in the cupboard, so to speak. We introduced it because we had a little bit of a problem with one of the students.
Lisa.
You are well informed.
And what do you think it was that disturbed her?
I believe that the course proved to be too demanding for her. We discovered that she had one or two psychological problems and she couldn't handle it.
And did you change anything else on the course apart from introducing the test?
We increased the entrance age to 21. Well, wasn't much, but it's about the only thing we could do. We didn't want another Lisa. We didn't want students turning around and suing us, did we?
Notice how they keep bringing up over and over the phrase psychological problems. They keep repeating that. They really want to emphasize that to help cover themselves. She had psychological problems. We really want to make sure you get that in your head. Now let's see. I believe there's something he said earlier that contradicts this right here. Something about how... here we go.
Aha. So nobody has ever been affected by auto-hypnosis, except Lisa.
Hypnosis wasn't the problem, Inspector. Lisa was the problem with Lisa. That's why we introduced the test.
But the hypnosis was the trigger, wasn't it?
Lisa arrived on the course believing we were all devil worshippers. She was nuts to start with. We didn't make her like that.
Well, as far as I can tell, Paul, you've had one student accuse you of devil worship and 2 others commit suicide. Some of your students aren't having a very good time on this course, are they?
Nonsense. Kate was enjoying every minute of it. She couldn't get enough of it.
Really?
She was full of the joys of life. Bubbly, confident, flirty.
With who?
You mean with whom?
With whom?
Pretty much everybody. Including me, as I remember.
Really? And, did you respond?
I don't get into relationships with students, Inspector. Company policy. It's not professional.
Gotcha.
Interesting admission that Kate flirted with him. There's no way Paul would have turned down an opportunity like that.
Avoids relationships with students, and yet... he once tried to date Emma.
Aha. So you avoid relationships with students, except for Emma, who you tried to date.
Oh, come on, Inspector. That was a long time ago.
And what about Kate Vine? Did you try to date her or not?
Oh, don't be so ridiculous, Inspector. Kate was an exceptionally clever girl. She knew exactly what she wanted, and she knew how to get it.
You mean that Kate approached you?
It wouldn't surprise me if she was playing everyone in the group. Kate had more enemies than you'd think. She was a very, very manipulative young woman.
O'clock, it's getting late. I'm gonna have to pick up the pace if I'm gonna solve this by midnight.
And with that, we are into another hour, and we will return for the 10 o'clock hour. Stay tuned.